So I'm in the middle of my morning run, and it is a perfect time to talk about the origin of consciousness. Now, Charles Darwin wrote this magnum opus, The Origin of Species, in which he explained the origin of the many biological species that we see around us. However, it is fair to say that although Darwin tried to explain, and successfully did that, in explaining the diversity of life on Earth, once life was created, he explained in terms of random mutations and natural selections how the diversity of life could evolve on this Earth. He did not manifestly explain the origin of life itself. Now,
Distance 3.
That was my running application going off again. So many people actually have pointed out this, wanting feature of Darwin's origin of species paradigm, and the same can be said about the origin of consciousness too, because nobody has succeeded in explaining the origin of consciousness, that's for sure. But once consciousness is obtained in some way or another, then we may be able to explain the diversity of the various cognitive functions that are supported by consciousness in one way or another, in a manner similar to what Charles Darwin did in his Origin of Species. So probably we can do that. The evolution of cognitive features are supported by phenomenological consciousness, but the origin of consciousness itself is also, of course, a hard problem, and nobody has succeeded in accounting for that. So probably the status quo for explaining the diversity of life on the Earth and explaining the diversity of cognitive functions supported by phenomenological consciousness might be on the same footing. And not many people might have realized that. And it is probably important to realize that even Charles Darwin has not succeeded in accounting for the origin of life itself, which I think is a fair point and something that needs to be taken into account when you try to explain the origin of consciousness.